listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. I'm with Emily Dean, and Steve Hall is with us this morning. You can text the show on 81215, or you can follow us on the Twitter at Frank on the Radio. And hey, you can email us through the Absolute Radio website. 3 portals, which gets you through to
3 portals.
domain.
I wasn't so keen on that follow-up single.
No. It was big with the submarine call. So, I'm still picking Duffin off my teeth.
Oh.
That's Duffin.
We need to talk about Duffin.
Yeah.
Because these are part of... There's this new wave of pastry. This is why we got them this morning. Daisy's trying to be... she's making us trendy, isn't she?
What they've done, they've started... they call it Frankenstein pastry, don't they? So they've started mixing popular pastry-based food stuff.
Cronut?
I suppose you'd call it... It's a mash-up.
What did you call it?
It's a mash-up, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's a mix between a donut and a muffin.
Yeah, cronut is half croissant, half donut. I bet Frank pronounces croissant. You know, when he does that very self-conscious French, like cliché, I love it. Say croissant, Frank.
Oh, you mean croissant? I love a bit of French. If only I spoke French. Why, I could do that every word. I'd move to France and my whole... everything would be like gargling.
Yeah.
So
this is half muffin, half donut.
I'm going to be straight with you. I haven't loved the Duffin.
I'm going to be straight with you. I feel ill.
It's not been popular in the studio, so...
No.
For me to leave a sugar-based treat, something's wrong. I feel a bit diabetic now.
Do you?
Yeah.
Because I thought...
Can we say there's nothing wrong with being diabetic?
No.
That's the official view of Absolute Radio.
Look, I'd worry because...
I had that on a memo only this week.
Like the Tom Hanks news.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Because calling it I'd originally thought calling it a Frankenstein food was a bit mean. And then I've tasted the Duffin, and now I understand, because it's a sin against nature.
I think that maybe Igor dropped the jar with the original filling and brought the evil man's brain filling. Yeah, I'm thinking that they could have been... Why not go savoury?
Yeah. What do you mean? What, egg and bacon in the middle?
I was thinking you could have... I like a sausage roll, but I'm going off sausage as I get older. I wonder if you could have a thing called a...
Going off sausage as I get older?
Going off sausage is the title, actually, of my new autobiography.
And mine.
It's a bit... Tom Robinson beat me to it. No, I wonder if you could have a thing called a sausage hole. So when you buy it, it's just the pastry casing, but you can buy various fillings in, like, sausage form, so you could get some sweet things.
Oh, so it's sans toad, Frank?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you could say, I'll have a sausage hole, and I'll have, can you get me a Montélimar instep? Not instep, would that be the right word? What would you put into it? Like
insert. Oh.
Insert.
Yeah, insert.
Yeah, a Montélimar insert. You know, I don't know what Montélimar is, but I've seen it on chocolate boxes.
Yeah, I have.
What is it?
Well, it's all I know is it's always on level 3. Yeah. And I don't often go down to level 3.
Well, I must say, I haven't heard. That's not what I've had. I don't know if I've ever had a level 3 chocolate box, but Montélimar, it's one of those that there's a whole branch of chocolates that aren't fruit-based. They're more or less fudge chocolate filling. Yeah. And Montélimar, I think, is one of those. But I think the sausage hole, the sausage hole, it's versatile.
Half the thing with these products is they start with a pun and work backwards. That seems it's what I don't like about these Frankenstein foods is they basically looked at things like Brangelina or dog breeds and the wacky names.
But Duffin, they haven't done much with Duffin, have they?
Well, that was the surname of Duffy from Casualty, was Lisa Duffin, so I can't... I'm biting into thinking of Kathy Shipton.
I love that you know that.
I love that's a generational thing, because I think of Duffy from Please Sir. And John Alderton used to go, Duffy. And now I've said it. I'm thinking of that, the sausage hole, and maybe I'm thinking if you could mix up a prawn cracker and a pasty, and there wouldn't actually be
that sounds attractive.
There wouldn't be prawn in it, but it would have a prawn element, so you could call it a prawnish pasty.
Do you know what, that'd play well in Birmingham, I reckon?
Yeah, I'm still... If you've got any ideas for pastry mashups, drop us a line.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on on Absolute Radio.
I was in the back of a car this week. When I say that, I mean I was being driven somewhere, not like the old days.
What do you mean?
Well, you know, in the early days of meeting members of the opposite sex, the back of a car used to be quite an emporium.
Tell me about it.
Anyway, what they do is they put stuff in their back flaps, professional drivers, magazines, you know, so that the passenger can read stuff.
What sort of magazines?
You know, often things like...
cigars.
It's just the daily papers a lot of the time.
Sometimes it's the daily papers.
No, you sometimes get a cigar aficionado.
Very, very rarely. Especially with the smoking ban.
Yeah.
But I was in a car this week. There was 2 magazines, both watch-based.
Oh.
One was a sort of Rolex thing. Another one was like Watch of the Year.
Oh.
And I'm fascinated, not by watches, au contraire. I'm fascinated by anyone who's interested in watches at all and cares about what they're like. Because... Can
I just say, I have a lot of close friends in the international watch community.
Do you really?
And I'll thank you to mind what you say.
Well, I'm not... you know, I might first start off, did that used to be a girdle in the 60s? Was that the name of a girdle? Have I made that up?
And I don't think they'll thank you for suggesting that.
I'm unfamiliar with even the concept of a girdle.
Someone on that. You don't know what a girdle is?
I think you're thinking of Playtex.
You think William Shatner?
You're thinking of Playtex.
I've always had a strange relationship with watches anyway. For a start off, you know those ones that aren't like a leather strap, they're like a metal strap.
A tank, do you mean?
Pardon?
Do you mean a tank?
What do you mean?
I mean, it's called a tank watch.
Is it?
Yeah. Not a metal strap.
You know what I mean? It's a solid metal...
Make it sound like the sort of thing Peter the Wild would have on his neck. It's a tank.
I've never heard the phrase tank.
A tank watch?
No, never heard
Daisy,
that.
have you heard of a tank watch? Thank you.
That sounds like...
Daisy's just, you know, she's so frightened of you, she'll say yes to anything.
Tank watch sounds like some sort of kind of shoot-'em-up game. Like some arcade game from the 1980s.
Yeah, Tank Watch would be like a live TV show, but in like Beirut. But it's, you know, because Badger Watch, I'm afraid all the badgers have been killed. What about Tank Watch?
Bill Oddie.
Well, we'll give it a try, we'll see how it goes. That's the head of television in Beirut. I don't know where Beirut is, but I'm just, you know what I'm saying. Where is Beirut? Didn't he used to play baseball?
I don't know, but that's our texting this morning. Where is Beirut?
Beirut?
Texting on 81215.
This happened to me once. I did a improvised comedy stand-up thing, and one of the things I had to improvise around was Gaza strip clubs. That was like the joke. And it soon became apparent I had no idea where the Gaza strip club was. Geography. I hate it.
I'm intrigued with watches because there are certain...
You're intrigued with watches. Get out.
No, as in similarly to you, I the only watch I've ever...
wear a watch,
no, there's a watch that you can always tell a low-level stand-up comedian, which I'm proud to be.
Because they've been intimate with me.
There's a... that's the two things. You're number one on the tick list, but there's a cheap vibrating watch that you can buy, possibly to tell them when it's their turn with you.
I wouldn't want to go and watch cheap vibrator watch live on BBC. Oh dear. Rabbit watch this week. Anyway, carry on.
And so that's as high tech as I ever go.
Someone proposed rabbit watch and it got terrible mix up in the paperwork.
So I think that's the most I've ever spent on a watch is 30 quid. And it's this vibrating watch.
That's a lot.
30 quid? I'd pay someone more to ask them the time. £30? What can you get for that?
That's fine. The truth, when you're buying a watch, always make sure you don't spend as much on it as you've just spent on the petrol. That's the secret. No, I think I might have spent 30 quid on a watch, tops.
You see, non-watch wearers, I'm a bit suspicious of
What
them.
I was going to say about those metal ones is because I've got very scrawny wrists.
Yeah.
They never fit me. I can't have those. They hang like you know.
That's
girls,
trendy.
Have we got
when women wear their boyfriend's watch? Yeah, that's what I look like. I look boyfriend's watch.
I've got very skinny wrists. Who's got the skinnier wrist of the two of us? This is quality radio.
Let me play something first, then we'll match our wrists.
Brokeback Mountain.
That's how it started. Yeah. Who's got the skinniest wrists? Okay, who's got the skinniest hips? And it went on from there.
Absolute Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
You're a very lucky man. You've heard that said to you when you've been on holiday with your girlfriend. You're a very lucky man.
They say that to me when they see my wife and realise that she's way out of my league. Yeah, you're a lucky man. Well,
I
that happened to
think
me in
that's what they
Green
mean.
Park. Said to me, did that in Green Park, outside Green Park Tube. Someone did exactly that, and I thought it felt like I was on a coast somewhere in the Med.
Very unfair.
Yeah,
Very unfair. And
There's
what was
lots
we
of international types now in our country.
indeed.
Steve?
Yes.
Just a minute, just checking the manual. So
Watches you were talking about.
Watch-based magazines. What do they have in them? Pictures of watches. I didn't dare open
Well,
one.
you wonder what the adverts in a watch-based magazine would be, because ordinarily the watches are the adverts in other magazines.
Yeah.
Frank, you are a non-watch. You're what I'll call a watch dodger.
Well, I wear a
And
watch.
Steve- well, not always.
Somebody bought me a watch. This watch. This is quite a nice watch.
Let's have a look at your watch. Let me just see. No, let me just see it. You don't need to take it off.
Yeah, I'm passing it over.
Okay, that's absolutely fine. It's absolutely fine.
Yes, it was a gift, that one. Thank you very much. I'm wondering imagine having to write an article about a watch, like a review of a watch. Yeah, you know, the hands go round in the same direction. What are you going to say about it?
I was really aware of the passage of time watching this.
There was a bloke in the audience on... we're recording Room 101 at the moment. There's a bloke in the audience, and he wanted to put in... we never got around to it through to time, but he wanted to put in... when people say 12 a.m. and 12 p.m.
Why?
Because it's not really true, because it isn't. Because midnight isn't really neither a.m. or p.m., it's midnight. And
He sounds like a laugh. Have you got his number?
Well, I like the sound of it,
Yeah.
but it did strike me. The one I ate is when they say 0, 100 hours.
I hate
We'll be there
it.
at 0, 100 hours. If it's 0, why even bring it up?
Just say we'll be there.
I have to say, I'm not a fan of midday and midnight on the watch.
I like army
on the
times.
watch front. I don't like it when they're huddled, the hands. They look like they're
When
up
they-
to something.
You don't like it when they're glenned.
Do you know what I mean? They look
Yeah.
like they're...
They're up to something.
Yeah.
Watch hands.
They only get to see each other once an hour. They've got so much to catch up on.
yeah, but
I
they
don't
look-
like it when one overtakes as well on the inside lane and the other looks all disappointed.
Have I-
You
know,
hear them say to each other, "I wish I could quit you."
That's how much
You've
I
got
love
Brokeback
this.
Mountain again.
Yeah, he's got very passionate this morning. I've just had to check my watch to see if I've got a second hand.
Have you?
I had no idea. I have got a second hand. This is brilliant news.
I tell you what, though, guys, I don't like... I know what you're saying, but I just don't like the watch dodger as a character. Do you know what I mean? Those sort of quite irresponsible people. They're a bit, oh, yeah, that 20 quid, I'll pay you back later. People that don't wear watches are a bit like that.
I don't know if that... I mean, I think in the age of the mobile phone, I think you don't need one anymore.
What that sounds like is you've segued neatly from people not having a watch on them to someone owes you 20 quid. And you're putting the
Who
pressure
doesn't
on.
wear a watch?
Yeah. They know exactly who they are.
Oh, they do.
I had a watch. I went to that... was it called Bodyworks? That Gunther von
yes,
Hagen.
yes, yeah.
Oh,
Remember Gunther von
yes.
Hagen? German...
Plastination.
German,
Yes, he wore the jaunty trilby as he loomed over the corpses.
Yes, he was obsessed with corpses, and he wore a black hat. That sounds like the beginning of a folk song. He was obsessed with corpses, and he wore a black hat.
The ballad,
sounds like
of
Van
Armin
Morrison.
Mivers.
He killed lots of people. That was our Pat. It's a story about my Irish relative who was a mass murderer.
Well, we've had a request for some stories about your father, which I'll talk to you about later.
Okay. So I had I bought a watch at the exhibition in the shop,
Oh, yeah.
in the dead body shop.
That's nice, Frank.
Yeah.
The dead body shop.
Did you buy that as a gift for Kathy?
No, just for me. The watch on the watch was a picture of a body holding out its own skin.
Wow.
Who would buy that? Oh.
The Frank Skinner Show. Listen live every Saturday morning from 8 on Absolute Radio.
Sorry,
Have you got a mouthful of
Are you eating
Duffin?
Duffin?
I've got a mouthful of Duffin. She's our guest this morning. She's got a new album out.
She's a bit Catherine Jenkins for me.
Is she?
Duffin.
I can't even remember what she looks like. Showbiz.
We've had some strong responses on the Frankenstein foods.
Okay.
Yeah.
153. How about a muff nut? I think that's unconnected to the Frankenstein's food. He's just
A muff
that
nut.
in it.
Yeah, and why is it a Duffin? Why it could
Exactly.
be a muff nut.
Presumably good muff nut.
No, I like muff nut. Wouldn't it be
Good for you. 678.
have a mo nut?
678 says a brownie and a yum yum is a brum. That's for Frank.
Lovely. I don't even know what a yum yum is though.
Oh, well.
Sort of little sugary
Yeah.
confection.
Well, they're all little sugary confections.
All right.
You know when you get stuff like Death by Chocolate, and they're trying to express chocolate things that are so chocolatey, they're beyond chocolate.
I
That's
don't
the
like
idea, isn't it?
Death by chocolate. That's the sort of thing Alan Partridge would order on a date, though. I don't like things like that. I'll have the Death by chocolate, please.
I'll start with a surf and turf. The Death by Chocolate. Have you got Chicken Maryland? But I thought you could have a thing that is so chocolatey it's impossible to get through it. And before you've reached the end, you've had so much chocolate you don't need any more. And here's one for the cricket fans. You could call it a chocolate declare. So you have to
Very
declare the
Oh.
innings before you complete the thing.
That's lovely.
Yeah. If there's any bakers listening, you can have that. You can have it, it's fine. No, I don't want any money. Have it.
Frank, we've had some geographical information has been texted into us from
good.
530. Beirut is the capital of Lebanon, East Mediterranean.
I've heard of Lebanon. That's,
Great place. Emily, you would love it.
Is it? Really?
Google it and focus on the good bits.
See, I sort of use it as a sort of stand. It's in the comedy chair for places to get shot at.
Not
I think
anymore.
it's that
Well,
and
it's
Willesden.
sort of recovering from
Yeah.
from the 80s, I think.
See, I'm out of date on that. It's like my fat person is still Mrs. Mills. Well, I mean, no one knows who that is.
No.
Yeah, but I've said this before. You have to have someone in each comedy chair. You have to have a fat person, stupid person, sexy lady, country that's dangerous, and stuff like that. So you can go there immediately in times of comic desperation. And I need to update Beirut. I need to
I
find
think
somewhere.
Sarajevo in the 90s, a lot of the comics I saw in the 90s replaced Beirut with Sarajevo.
Yeah.
But
Well,
that's
where should I be going now with those dangerous jokes?
we should get people to text in.
No, probably
No.
not. No, they'll just be texting dangerous places. And
What about
that'll be
Chegsy?
depressing. Pardon?
What about a chegsy? A toasty containing cheese and a fried egg. I don't think that works.
Where's the
Well, it's cheddar and egg. Chegsy.
cheddar and toast?
Chegsy. Delicious.
I don't.
That's from Moby.
We've had,
Moby
can I just
texted
say-
us that, Frank.
When I'm thinking that through, a little tiny trail of blood has just come out of my ear. Trying to work that out. Is that a good thing? I'm a bit worried about that.
Frank
Skinner.
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
I was watching the BBC News.
Okay.
And there was a thing about this art online, what do they call them? Website. One of those things. And she said, if you take a look on there, the newsreader says, she says there's people like Frank Skinner and Anne Widdecombe talking about. And I thought, no.
no.
What you mean is there's people like Frank Skinner, and then again, there's people like Anne Widdecombe.
You're in the same Venn diagram.
We've been roughly yoked together by violence.
It implies, because the only things you've got in common are you're both Catholic.
Well,
So-
I don't
so-
think
Is
she
she
was
Catholic?
referring
Is
to that.
she's Catholic, is she?
She is now.
So,
Oh, yeah.
maybe when they
She's
say people
Johnny
like,
come lately.
maybe they couldn't put, you get Catholics talking about it.
Frank, you're lucky. She could have said Frank Skinner and Widdecombe. That lot.
Exactly.
Could have been that lot.
That would have been an anti-Catholic statement or something. Yeah, I think she joined about the time of the women.
Oh, she
thing.
was one of those, that
exactly.
exodus.
Yes, brilliant reason.
On a religious
for
note,
joining.
we've had
I must
a
say.
suggested Frankenstein product. Hayden has suggested your own incense range, frankincense. That's
I love it.
as an idea.
I've got sugar all over my lower parts now from the Duffin.
They are messy. They're more difficult to eat than a normal
This
donut.
is, I walk past Battersea Dogs Home on the way home.
I hate
Brilliant.
these Duffin. They're more high maintenance than me. I won't be eating these again.
Lisa Yates has said there's no way Divine Miss M would put her lips near something as carb-laden as a Duffin. She refuses to believe you've even
Well-
eaten it at all.
It was a bit like eating cyanide, but I did it. I'll be nil by mouth for 2 weeks now.
Even I thought, as I ate it, nothing tastes as good as skinny feels.
Oh.
Even as I ate it.
Lovely, Frank.
I thought a moment on the lips. Yeah, I did. It's because I think you said, if you're going to eat something that's bad for you, you want it to be brilliant.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You don't want average stuff that's bad for you. I can eat good stuff that's good for me that tastes carb.
Never waste calories.
There you are, that's this week's motto.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
Now, Frank, we've had an email from Barry seeking enlightenment and wisdom.
The man or the island?
The man.
Okay.
Don't get many
The man
Barrys
Barry.
these days.
No.
That's all right.
Well, Barry has made contact. If
Have
there are
you?
any other Barrys out there,
No. We don't want every Barry in Britain to text in just to say, yes, I'm called Barry.
it's sort of like a Dave Gorman
Barry
style.
on!
Nice. He said, hi Frank, the Cockerel and the beautiful Miss Emily. Whilst driving yesterday, I passed a guy on a moped wearing black and white check trousers, who I assumed was on his way to work as a chef, which got me thinking, why do chefs wear black and white check trousers? I understand why they would wear a blue plaster if they cut their finger, so if it fell off, it would be easily spotted in the food. But I'm stumped as to why the funny trousers. What's that all about, A?
What
I'm
about
hoping
if it
some
was
of
a,
your
what if
readers
it was
might
a
be clever.
blueberry crumble?
Yeah.
It could be a nightmare.
Why
So,
did-
bit of skin.
If it was a
that-
blue plaster cake, that could be...
Well, why do they wear the Harlequin vibe?
I assume that he might not have been. He could have been a mason. Aren't they into
Yeah.
blue, white, black and white check? I've been in a couple of Masonic halls.
What?
Yeah.
I'll just throw that Kalashnikov into the
I've been in-
conversation.
I used to be a burglar. And we loved the pyramid. That was our special. No, there used to be a gig in Battersea in the sort of waiting room for the comics, the dressing room. Not waiting room, sounds a bit bleak. was a Masonic hall. And they go for a black and white check floor. I quite like Masonic interiors.
Well,
Is
Barry
being
has
a
opened a can of
Freemason-
worms.
Oh.
We've segued.
Is it a Scar thing? Remember Scar enthusiasts?
Yes, there's a lot of
When I say
two-tone.
Scar enthusiasts, I don't mean
You mean SKA?
surgery.
A chef,
I mean
a chef who's been careless with his knives.
I mean, that's what I mean, that kind of stuff. There'll be people dancing to that, you laugh. People dancing to that all over Britain in their pork pie hats.
You're listening to the Frank Skinner podcast from Absolute Radio. Want your Frank fix a little sooner? Listen live every Saturday from 8 a.m. on Absolute Radio. Across the UK on digital radio, mobile apps, and in London and the South East on 105.8 FM.
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Steve Hall. You can text us on 8 12 15, follow us on 8... follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, or you can email us through the Absolute Radio website. I'm messing up my housework now.
Frank, I'm a chef. The reason we wear those funny coloured trousers is because it's a fashion statement. Oh, that's from Ben in High Wycombe. That hasn't answered the question that we asked shortly
true.
before the news.
We've had a tweet from Wag Hansen, who says maybe chefs play food chess.
Can I say it's not a very nice way to talk about Alan Hansen's wife?
Food chest, that's possible with tiny pieces, though.
Individual peas, or... Oh, no, they'd have to be different. The peas could be the pawns.
Yes. Well, you could have prawns if you wanted to.
Is it a stain issue with the chefs, then? Is that what it is?
That's what I understood
Must
it to be.
What do you mean a stain issue?
Well, that's why they wear the Harlequin trousers, because they want to cover
Yeah.
up the stains. They have to wear chef's whites, because
For
that's
when they're
tradition.
making Stanish pastries.
I thought that's why a chef wears all white, because it symbolises.
They don't wear all
absolute
white, though,
cleanliness.
do they? They wear check trousers.
They wear all
Sorry,
whi-
the head chef. Sorry, I think the head chef is ordinarily. clad
Maybe
in-
they used to wear all white, and they wear check trousers now, so you could tell, say, if one of them was upside down in the kitchen.
Do you think Gordon Ramsay wears check trousers? I hope not.
Why?
I don't know.
No, he's too good for that now, isn't he? He's
too good for that.
I think he's gone above the demi.
Has he?
Oh, yeah.
There are certain chefs' traditions. I think the idea is
Does
with the
Demi Moore wear check trousers? That's this week's text.
I think with the chef's hat, I think the idea of the chef's hat with all the little pleats and sort of knots in it, I think there's a tradition that it's meant to symbolise. I think it's meant to have 100 knots in it.
What knots? What are you talking
It's
about?
in the chef's tock, those little folds.
He's just
Yeah.
making up words now.
Yeah.
And it's meant to
Tock?
symbolise...
What? Chef's talk?
Near the brill. You know the brill at the top of a chef's?
Next to the nuncao.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
It's
like
meant-
writers for Monty Python.
It's meant to symbolise the 100 different ways it's possible to cook an egg. And I don't know 100 ways to cook an egg.
Is
but
that
that
true?
is
Have you
supposedly-
Googled this? You
some
just knew that?
ages ago I googled it for a separate thing.
Stevedopedia, we can't keep up with your knowledge.
I thought it represented the nuclear age. Doesn't it look like the mushroom cloud the chefs have?
No, and this is the oldest conversation I've ever been misfortunate
Maybe that's
about.
just it symbolise how a chef might lose his temper. He might go off like a mushroom crowd.
Oh, Pearlies!
Oh,
My
Frank,
new catchphrase.
I've
Read
got
my
something I
mind.
have to share with you.
Okay. I'm really hoping it's a Twix.
It's from 546.
Okay.
Do you remember you boys were talking about a certain event at the BFI last week? Doctor Who?
Yes. Steve didn't go and I went late.
You were late, weren't you?
They showed the TV movie, which featured the 8th Doctor, who is played by Paul McGann.
Right. You were spotted, Frank. 546 has emailed us. Before you get on to the missing episodes, yay.
It's a bit presumptuous.
BTW. Just a quick note that there was an audible sigh of disappointment when it was announced that Frank wasn't at the BFI for the beginning of the TV movie last week.
I can't believe that.
When he came in, no, listen to this, my friend. When he came in, there was a clamour of excitement. The
It was not a clamour.
man next to me turned to his friend and said, "He's here, he's here."
I do not believe that. That's a quote from John the Baptist.
I'll be honest, I looked round a few times to see if you'd got there yet as well.
Well, I did get there. I got there for the end of the film and for the there was a panel with the stars of the film and stuff.
It was quite an extensive, quite a
very
lot of
fine.
the pictures I've seen. There were quite a lot of people on the stage. It was
3.
well, that's how many friends I've got that I
Well,
consider that.
3 and the interviewer, so 4, I suppose, to be fair. I don't know if I'd call that a lot.
I live in a cupboard under the
The
stairs.
Beatles, that was a lot of people, wasn't it? Blimey. I mean, how did they get a van big enough for all those Beatles?
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
Oh, yeah, we're talking...
So the enormous crowd of people on the stage.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was an earlier panel that I missed, so maybe that was particularly crowded.
Because obviously we talked about it last week, and we mentioned Toby Haydock's name, and I think I even mentioned missing episodes. I think we discussed it on air, and then hey presto, no sooner do we talk about it.
Can I just say I'm so happy you've said hey presto?
I'm so happy you said Toby Haydock or whatever his name is.
Well, he got name checked last week as well. He's all over this show like a rash.
Yeah. Well, that was the great thing, was that so obviously if people haven't heard, they've discovered.
If
and
people haven't
released-
heard, I cracked out the verb Clicquot the minute I heard.
They've discovered and released 9 previously missing Doctor Who episodes, bringing the total missing down from 106 to 97. They're all Troughton. It's a genuinely exciting and beautiful thing.
I agree.
Just in time for the 50th anniversary. And
In
Toby...
fact, I had a look at the computer last night, and
Had a look at the computer.
can you believe this? Second Doctor, Patrick Troughton, is at top of the iTunes charts.
Brilliant.
For downloads.
That's absolutely
I
great.
loved it.
Go on, get him! As they say.
David Blunt.
What's that bloke shout once at I think we were at something like the Sonys and somebody won an award and somebody shouted, back of the net!
Because obviously the fact that the episodes... It's one of the greatest acts of cultural barbarism in British cultural history in the
Including
last
Pol
50
Pot.
years. Yes, it's worse in many ways.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, what, you mean that they wiped over all the old BBC stuff?
Yeah, just and not just Who, but the fact that there's loads of Peter Cook missing. There's Dad's Army.
There's some
missing.
of me, actually, you'll find.
Really? Is that?
Yes.
Are you missing? Will you be discovered on a shelf in Nigeria somewhere?
No, it's all right, because my godmother, Lindsay DePaul, was an early adopter of the video.
Oh,
so she
lovely.
taped everything I was in.
That's thank God for that.
Genuinely, did
Her and Bob Monkhouse, the only people in Britain with a video recorder.
It took a while to load.
Because Monkhouse is responsible for saving a lot of stuff. There was stuff that was completely lost.
Yes.
There's old episodes of The Golden Shot that only after they looked into his estate that they were rescued. They were thought lost forever.
Hands off that dial.
Frank, we've had a tweet in from David Blondell who actually
Oh, I thought
says...
it was going to say David Blunkett. It says... No, I went to the joke. Carry on.
Doctor Who episode... Well, he said Doctor Who
It says
episodes...
Ralph, and furthermore. Go on.
Doctor Who episodes turn up in Nigeria. It's Troughton too. I wonder if any of M's family are in them. Well, it's funny you should say that. Well, I think I am the only person alive that probably connects Nigeria and Doctor Who. Because let's face it, most of my parents' friends were in Doctor Who at some stage or another. And they'll be pleased about the royalty checks, won't they? They won't believe their luck. And one of my 5 grandfathers was Nigerian.
Yes.
So something could have happened. He was a
is
dodgy character by Olaleya.
When they said that they'd found some new episodes, I saw the internet and they said that they're in Nigeria, I thought, hold on. Is this an email from someone who says, I've got some Doctor Who, send cash? And I'll send them return of post. But no, happily. I haven't told you, I've been sitting watching them through the night.
Fantastic.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So we talked last week, Frank, off air about the mission.
Sorry.
we talked
Mr.
Mr. Skinner.
when people use my name.
Mr. Skinner.
No, please.
And we discussed. I was saying because I'd heard the rumours, and you were saying that you'd heard the rumours so many times.
I didn't believe it anymore.
That you didn't believe it anymore, and it's amazing because these were found in Nigeria. It's an incredibly romantic story, as my levels of romance go. That the fact that he's actually put boots on the ground and he's trekked all over the place, and so he's gone to these dusty old towns and found it.
Who's put boots on the ground?
The fella who found it, Philip Morris.
International cigarette promoter.
Yes.
Is that right? I don't think it's him. Anyway, I downloaded them and I started watching. I was familiar with. I'm not going to get too much detail here. Don't panic. But there was Enemy of the World, which is.
Can I say, is that the one with the man in the Yeti costume?
No,
that's Web of Fear.
Although can I say,
like me in a onesie.
Can I say there is a great gag that made me laugh out loud in Enemy of the World, because I've only ever seen one episode of Enemy of the World. That's all I know. And there's a bit where it's like a bat ref, but they're on the phone and they say, "Okay, so we'll meet you under the disused jetty on the beach." And the doctor says, "Disused Yeti?" And it really made me laugh.
I didn't know they did material in Doctor Who.
Well, I think he snuck the odd bit in, Patrick Troughton.
Well, I was there when they discovered the Underwater Menace episode about 2 years ago.
Yeah, you were there. What in that?
Yeah.
In a dusty.
I was hiding.
Okay.
And it's amazing how he reminded me so much of Matt Smith. The connections. It was really a lovely thing to see.
Anyway, we shouldn't get too deep into the.
Do you know what I'm doing now? I'm doodling. I've never done that on this show.
We need to stop now.
It's too much Doctor Who.
Can I say though, this one last thing. I started watching Enemy of the World. It's set in 2018, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And it begins with the mid chase by 3 men in a hovercraft.
Of course it does.
Oh, I love it.
One of the things I love with this, my mate who is more connected to the gossip was saying that of the countries left where there might be.
Has he got his finger on the pulse?
He does have his finger on the pulse.
Hot gossip.
Did
he say his friends in hot gossip?
Yeah, he loves Doctor Who and hot gossip. They're the things he loves. He was saying that it's the countries that we now have tricky international relationships with. They're the places that might still have hope. Because we haven't probably been in contact with Zimbabwean TV archives or Iranian TV archives
like Nigeria
for a long time.
How dare you? Some of my family are from there.
Well, that's what I mean, that Nigeria is, we're on
why
relatively friendly terms.
Yeah.
So that's
this is why it's very important that all Doctor Who fans download these episodes, because if the BBC realise there's enormous money to be made,
absolutely,
then probably David Cameron will make peace with countries who, in fact, have a terrible civil rights record, just so we can get at these tapes.
Because was your sitcom, was Blue Heaven, in one of your books...
You mentioned one of my sitcoms.
But wasn't that, in one of your books you talk about like not seeing that for years, and then someone having it on video.
Yes.
And
but that could happen in those days, but now everything's everywhere. As I've said on here before, I miss missing stuff. We'll come back to this.
Have we stopped talking about Doctor Who?
We'll come back to this, I'm warning you.
You're listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
So we were talking about missing episodes. I'm going to carry on. I'm going to keep...
Are you going to carry on talking about Doctor Who by any chance?
No.
Not Doctor Who, because
that's it,
it's, like we said, it's not just Who that's gone missing. So it's almost...
Who's gone missing? No, okay.
Disused Yeti.
Yeah. That was funny.
That's a great
really made
joke.
me laugh. Meat under a disused Yeti. Best joke I've ever heard in my whole life.
Patrick Troughton with a page boy haircut.
Yeah, exactly. No, but in this one, he plays two characters.
Oh, has he got the Henry V then? He likes
so he has the Henry
hair.
V, and then when he plays Salamander, the enemy of the world, he just combs it to one side and puts on a bit of... I mean, he darkens himself, but only to, like, Mexican standards, not... Because he did, originally when he played... His plan was to wear a turban and black up for Doctor Who. That was his initial idea, so he could get other roles afterwards. He wouldn't be reckoned.
Right?
Wow. Now, if there'd been a Doctor Who that had blacked up, I think the whole 50-year anniversary would be in danger. People would look back with such nostalgia. So thank God he was talked out of
Missing Believed burnt rather than Missing Believed wiped.
Oh, yes. Missing Believe wiped.
That is the project that they call. So it's been running for 20 years.
Missing Believe wiped sound like one. When you get those like Japanese translations of English phrases. Missing Believe wiped sounds like a my dog's got no nose translated into Japanese. That's a lot cleaner than anyone thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I was relieved.
Relax. Just trust me. It's breakfast radio or breakfast television. How pathetic. He thinks it's still on television.
It's no GMTV. It's no last days of GMTV.
Oh, it's like whatever happened to Baby Jane when she thinks she's still a star. Sorry, carry on,
Go on, Steve.
Because I presume you must know some of these because you're a regular at the British Film Institute. So the Missing Believe white people, Mr. Dick Fiddy.
Oh, I know Dick very well.
So who are these people? You can't just say the Missing Believe white people, Mr. Dick Fiddy.
Basically...
That sounds like Esperanto. I didn't understand one word of that.
They are pioneering souls attempting to find...
Can I say I've just pulled some chewing gum off the bottom of my shoe? Anybody want some?
Frank, why is it black chewing gum?
Well, I've been walking around quite a lot.
Why were you looking under your shoe just then?
Was I supposed to limp to keep it clean?
Why were you looking under your shoe while Steve was talking about the Missing Believe white men?
It's no more than my words deserve, in all honesty.
Oh no, I've got this corrupted left hand now. It's got chewing. I'm going to call it shoeing gum.
Nice.
That's the new term
Frankenstein
for chewing gum that you find on your
It
shoe.
was such an odd decision you made there.
No, I'd much rather be doing this show than listening to it. Anyway, carry on, Steve. Carry on, Steve. What a rubbish film that would have been.
Terrible. Worse even than Carry On Columbus.
Barbara Windsor in a caravan being spoken to about old films at length.
By a man with a very monotonous voice.
There's a man in Enemy of the World, actually, who really reminds me of you when you've got your glasses on.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Yeah.
Is it David Baddiel?
He's treated very awfully, but he gets to wear a black sort of PVC suit.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So, Steve, what's next?
Well, I can keep it entertaining.
Okay.
That's the... I saw this wonder. I've had a lovely week. I saw The Missing Believe White. My favourite thing that I saw in that was the opening night of BBC Two, which had been lost.
Yeah, my
Yes.
dad's on that.
Is he?
Yeah, I
What is he?
believe.
What is he doing?
Oh, I don't know, some middle class thing.
Well, it was BBC Two. I don't know if any working class
That's actually
things
how they announce it. They go now over to some middle class thing.
or as we call it, BBC Two.
But it's one of the more politically incorrect things I've ever seen. It's on YouTube.
You want to tell us about?
I'm not going to. It's on YouTube. It's an astonishing thing that less than 50 years, quite how it's unbelievable. That the first news story they announce is not fit for broadcast in this arena, but it's on YouTube and people can watch it. Should they be so forewarned? But the other thing I saw was, when they first showed this, there was a puppeteer who was 93 who hadn't seen the thing that he'd made with his puppets in kind of 50 or 60 years. And it's these lovely old kids things that he'd done, and a song called Watch the Donut, Not the Hole. There's a lovely little kind of maxim for life.
That is a good maxim.
As you walk through life, make this your goal. Watch the donut, not the hole.
Well, you could say it was an argument for materialism.
I say watch the Duffin, anyway.
Yes.
I've been watching the whole for years. Anyway, carry on.
And it was just a beautiful thing to see a 93-year-old man standing up and taking credit for something that he himself hadn't seen in half a century.
That is beautiful. Moving on.
And then I went for a walk with them.
Well, that's hardly moving on, is it?
Well, at least we're back in the 21st century.
Oh, yeah, we went for a little walk, Frank, me and Steve.
Did you?
Well, I went for a walk.
Love is in the air.
And then...
Every sound, every sound.
No! Steve had a 1:15, and that's how I talk in my world.
Oh, okay.
Steve had a 1:15, and I sort of forced him to come with me.
This was after the show, wasn't it, last week? Okay.
And I kept being so entertaining that he was compelled.
It was great. We set the world to rights.
Well, I was going to swap, my iPhone screen had smashed, so I was going to get a replacement. And I went into a shop and I made Steve come with me as a sort of baldric figure. He was my assistant.
Yeah.
And then we went into one shop and the man was so horrible, I walked out, didn't I?
But you're a tough cookie.
I was a negotiator.
I was impressed with her negotiation skills.
You negotiated?
I walked into the next shop. I said, I want you to change my iPhone screen. I've chosen you. You're the nicest. I said, I've chosen you. The other man was so hateful, but he was cheaper. I said, can you do me the same price as the hateful man? He said yes.
That's very good.
I was very impressed. You got a bargain. That final bloke was lovely.
I got £10 off.
I tried to talk to them about missing episodes. They asked me to leave the shop. Got a bit awkward.
Yeah, you're like the ancient mariner. How nasty was the nasty bloke?
It was real. There was a real air of misogyny to it. There was a real sort of gave her a kind of very horrible look.
Oh.
It was a menacing environment, but we went into another
phone shop.
Yeah, he was horrible, the man. We went into another shop, didn't we, Steve?
Well, that was what I love. You went into before that final shop we went to. The second phone shop we went into was literally next door to the first shop, and you said to them in the second shop, that bloke next door is absolutely horrible. I hate him. He treated me really badly. Can you do me a better price?
And that's good. You introduced that classic air of competition.
Yeah.
Not only in price but in personality.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Oh yeah.
I did that with the cheeky girls when I went there. More or less exactly the same thing.
But we then walked into the strangest shop I think I've been in a long time.
Hold that, bookmark there. I'm going to play some music. I'm very keen to know how such a shop could win a title like that.
Frank
Skinner
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
So we were in this shop.
Yeah.
It was the strangest shop I've been to. It was essentially a knick-knack shop.
Oh, yeah.
I would say it was the size of the ground floor of a department store. It was massive.
It was huge.
But all it sold was faux dog poo.
Yeah. And there's only one. It was one of those ones where there's only one way through it, so you can't leave easy. You have to sort of do the whole. It was essentially like the Poundland on acid. That was what it felt like. It was knickknacks and trinkets and nothing that you'd ever need.
Paper clips.
Did you buy anything?
An oven glove shaped as a goat.
Penguin beanies. Some nutmeg. We found after a row there was some staplers, some fake dog poo, and then a rack of spices.
Next to the faux dog poo, 3 consistencies, there was giant seeds packets as well.
Yeah, cardamom.
But what was odd about this shop, Frank? There was something...
Hold on a minute. Oven glove shaped as a goat?
Yes.
That sounds all right.
And we did nearly buy something.
Egg timer, cupcake shaped as a cupcake.
The onesie.
You say we nearly bought something. What happened is, I think there's a drugging agent in the atmosphere in the shop, because I went a bit weird. That's right, there were people queuing up to buy all this terrible stuff. I suddenly said to Steve, I'm not joking, I said, I need to get that, I'm going to buy that. It was a onesie, a dinosaur onesie in XXL. I was going to buy it, wasn't I? You had to stop me.
It was to the point where I was thinking Noel, it was some remake of Noel's House Party, and Emily was about to be gotcha'd.
Right.
But they'd appeared to create this shop out of nothing.
That can happen. Me and David Baddiel, when we lived together, used to sit up watching these infomercials into the early hours. People selling things like fish bait. And we used to sit just laughing and making jokes about taking the mickey. And about an hour and 40 minutes in, we'd always say, actually, that's pretty good. Look how it's removed that paint from that surface without any evil smells. So it is those shops can draw you in, definitely.
Well, it was the sort we felt fairly out of it, the whole process of walking through, to the point that when I was looking for it the other day, I couldn't find it again. It was that sort of shop where you think you'll ask someone where it is, and they'll say there hasn't been a shop like that for 100 years.
It's called Tiger.
Well, it has 21 branches.
Trust me, I don't want any of the
Hold on.
merchandise.
I'm just going to go in there before Steve plugs each individual branch.
The Frank Skinner Show. Listen live every Saturday morning from 8 on Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Steve Hall. You can text us on 81215. Follow us on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, or email the Absolute Radio website. That was a bit like terms and conditions at the end of an ad. Oh, can I say one more Doctor Who thing? This is not technical.
Have you lost your mind?
Not technical, but just something I remembered is that one of these shows has been found.
I can't believe it.
It's called The Web of Fear. Well, I listened to The Web of Fear, the audio of it, and someone was staring at me in the street. I mean, really staring, and you know, obviously people stare at me at the street. I'm a borderline national treasure, but I mean, not in a good way. And I realised, because they just have the episodes back to back, I was humming along with the theme tune, and I think you can probably get away with them. That could be Qatar, but I was on the. And I was doing it out loud. I was doing it out loud in the street. I'm so embarrassed. Okay.
I think proud of that.
No,
you got to just be who you are.
No, you can't. Don't.
Just be who you are. That's the worst advice I've ever heard in my life. Never be who you are.
Thank you. That's
I
lovely.
think you should jazz hands it as you do the Who theme tune in the street.
No, but people are very unforgiving, I find, in the street. They become afraid.
What? If you're wandering down the street going, woo!
Yeah, so, for some reason, they find that alarming.
actually alarming.
He's taken that
Anyway.
Catholicism too seriously. He thinks he's an angel.
Is that not noise angels make? Okay, come on.
Yeah. Well, don't say come on, it's you that's going on about who every
No, I
minute.
just thought of it, you know,
Okay.
just remembered.
You know what we haven't talked about this morning? Can we get onto my area, please? Which is
Petroleum.
more elderly actors.
Okay.
I want to talk
Just trying to
about...
think of things that we hadn't talked about.
Elderly actors.
Can we talk
I didn't know
about-
that was your area.
No, it is my area. And I'd like to talk about
Sounds like a grey area.
Sir David Jason.
Sir David Jason. Is he a
Because...
sir?
I believe so.
Is he?
Yeah. SDJ. I believe
Excellent.
there was a bit of an issue with his autobiography, which is called My Life.
Is that what he called it?
Yeah, he called it My Life. My Life.
I'd like to have been
My
at the
life.
when they workshop that title.
He had so many at his disposal with the boy in there.
Yeah.
There's about a boy, there's mad about
He
the
could
boy.
have called it Del or No Del.
Oh, Frank,
Lovely.
that's good.
Lovely.
If anyone's got any ideas for when the paperback's out, they can change the title.
What can
like
he do
that.
with Jason?
Yeah.
Jason and the Argonauts?
If anyone's got any ideas for a better title for David Jason's autobiography, do let us know.
Yeah.
'Cause, I mean, that is
Yeah, but...
rubbish.
So you know what happened? 40 pages of My Life was printed in the Bridget Jones book, which was out this week.
As if Bridget Jones isn't enough of a national treasure without having to secrete another national treasure.
Distilled essence of
I
Britain.
mean, David Jason is as popular as anyone has ever been in Britain.
Yeah.
If you got, say, Shakespeare, Nelson, Winston Churchill, he's more popular than all of those people. But he's more popular than Sam Fox in the British sensibility.
Basing all your knowledge on 1982.
Don't you find, though, when somebody's that popular with the British public, you do lose a little bit of respect for them?
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
About Sir David Jason and
Yes.
his rather lame autobiography title, My Life. We've had some suggestions through. 295, that's a.k.a. Kate and Bexley. A better title would be Del Boy to Man.
Del Boy to Man, yes.
663 to Del and Back.
Yes, that's
I
good.
like that.
I like that.
Yes.
Thank you for
well,
your
they're good. They're
suggestions.
both better than My Life.
Yeah.
Come on, Sir David. See, if these people haven't got a script, they're nothing. Next.
So I'm wondering, given that they've misprinted the Bridget Jones thing, does that then make it a collector's item? Will people be keen
Yes, it does.
They'll sort of be, or possibly they won't notice the difference. They'll just be reading through and going, "Oh, Mr. Darcy's died," and then she's doing the voice of Danger Mouse.
Yeah, well, I think it is probably... it's a good test to see if they get that far.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't... you're aware of the fact the brief history of time ends on page 50? Where it's just blank pages after that. No one's ever discovered it. Yeah, it's. I liked it though. I like the idea of as mess ups go. It's good.
Is it a mess up or was it a big publicity
come on.
stunt?
Have you met Sir David Jason? Have you ever interviewed him?
What are you getting at? No, I haven't met Sir David Jason.
And have you ever met Helen Fielding?
Steve's so going
I
to
have
say
met-
he's met him.
I have met Helen Fielding. She's very lovely, I must
She's
say.
nice, isn't she?
Yeah, she's great.
Have you met Sir David Jason?
No, I'm asking as
Next
a-
week.
Oh, come on, because you're
plebeian.
asking that in a real kind of fact. Obviously you have, and you're just trying to make us look small, and then you're going to say, well, actually, Sir David Jason is my godfather.
You've worked in showbiz for too long.
Okay. A lot of people say that.
Next week
It's a
on
great heckle.
Have You Met Sir David Jason?
You've worked in showbiz too long. Oh, sorry.
I'm asking this from a genuine. You've been around. You know, the people you've met.
been
The
around.
stories you've got. You've been around the block a few times.
Yes.
So what was-
But there was no need to stop at every house.
Did you interview Helen Fielding, or did you just?
No, I went to Africa with Helen Fielding. I already knew her by that stage. She has a very...
A bit of a strange first date.
she has one of those smiles. You know, some people smile and you want to smile with them.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
She
lovely.
has one of those smiles. She's lovely.
Okay.
So David Jason might be lovely. He might be a total nightmare. I have no idea. I've never met
So
him.
then they're bringing back Open All Hours. This is the other David Jason.
Oh
news.
God, that's my worst show ever.
Never go back. Never go back. That's the secret. I mean, look at... what's the worst ever piece of going back? Showbiz going back. To me, was Bat Out of Hell 2. How do you do that? How do you have an album that's like a sequel?
Yeah.
That's rubbish. It was how many years later?
Oh, I don't know.
What
It's
it
over
is,
a decade.
It's just another album, but we'll call it that because that album sold a load, and so people will buy that like it's the other half of that album. That is. Why doesn't he call it Open All Hours 2 and just admit that that's Open All Hours plus some more hours?
I can't wait to see people buying seeds and hammers.
Sickles and hammers, that's what I yearn for.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
I hated that tank top that Sir David Jason wore as well. He wasn't a Sir back then. He wore the same costume every week.
Yeah, well, people did wear the same clothes every day in the 70s. They did.
What-
Did they?
I always wore the same. People did. I've said this before. People would say, you know, he means the guy that wears the brown corduroy bomber jacket.
Is that how you identified people through
Yeah.
their one outfit?
Yeah, we all had honestly, you could have got my... the people talk about packing and the problem. I could have put all my clothes in a suitcase easily. I'd just take everything if I'd ever gone on holiday.
Was that what you hated about Open All Hours? Was the fashion?
No. Well, that was one element.
You
I
didn't hate it, did you?
I didn't hate it. I despised it.
I loved it.
Oh, I hated that trumpet at the beginning, and then
I believe it was called Alice, Where Art Thou? The
oh,
opening
see,
tune.
that sums up why I hate it. And then I didn't like, and then it was people arranging all horrible shop hardware things in a horrible street. I couldn't bear it. Sorry,
Okay.
Frank.
It was one of the great working class sitcoms. Could that be it? Oh, I loved it.
So the Mannerborn I loved.
Did it give you the fear? Was
Yeah,
that-
it did actually.
But the new version will be like... Do you remember in the Batman TV series, they used to climb up the outside of buildings and they'd pass major celebrities looking out the window? It'd be like Sammy
did they?
Davis Jr. looking out the window
Oh.
when they went past. They'd have a little chat with him and then carry on climbing. They could do that. They could have celebrities coming into the shop to make it up to date.
I don't know. You could get people travelling there.
Yeah, Naomi Campbell comes in for some scouring pads or
Four
something.
candles.
Yeah.
Oh, any sitcom where there's regional pensioners, I don't really like. I'm afraid.
Okay, that's a pretty good rule of thought.
Last of the Summer Wine is not ranking highly.
But do you find them not funny, or do you?
I find them so depressing that I can't get past that depression.
So it's
I can't get
it's
into
the bleakness.
them. Yeah, the
for you.
bleakness I don't like.
Oh,
Sorry.
I see. That's my favourite bit.
What? thought the bleakness is your favourite bit.
Because I don't want to play my class war card, but like things like The Good Life and that, I used to think,
love
I don't
that.
know anybody like this. I mean, I do now, obviously, but at the time, like Steptoe and stuff, it was like, you know, they were like Mr. Western who lived next door.
You see, that reminds me, when you say I don't know anybody like this, that reminds me of when I said, when your parents had dinner parties and you looked a bit horrified.
When you said to me, at least everyone has got a contact with show business, you said to me, your dad must have at least say known a journalist. No! My dad. Yeah, I've been talking to this journalist in the pub.
We had a request in earlier for stories about your dad. You have to do one a week now, so you need to think of one. We did.
I got to think one for which the whole family can't be arrested, retrospectively.
You're listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
I had a lovely thing arrive when I got in this morning from Carol Ann in Tasmania.
Oh.
But she's with Sheila's Wheels. She sent me, she says, I'm a long-time reader who enjoys the podcast each week whilst walking Molly, my greyhound. Yeah. Anyway, she sent me a container, which is, what it is, as she describes it, it's a useful decanter for pickled onions. It has a nifty little inner crate. So what it's got inside it is a slightly smaller container. Well, obviously, it would have to be if it was inside it. But it's got lots of holes in it, so you can lift it up. The onions come with it and leave the vinegar behind, and then you can immerse them afterwards.
Why would you want to lift up the onions, for goodness sake?
Well, you get to my age, you find yourself lifting up your onions more and more often. No, just so you can take them out without, spillage.
This sounds like the sort of thing that would have been on sale in the shop we went into.
Yeah.
She also told, well, thank you for that, Carol Ann. And is the name Carol Ann or is it named Carol Ann? Ann is her surname.
Oh, that's a funny surname.
Yeah.
Well, it could be like an Anzac.
Yeah.
She also told me in this about a marketing campaign for a supermarket chain called Coles, in which all their prices were down, and they had Status Quo singing "Down, Down" with big foam hands on, with the fingers pointing downwards. It sounds great because on one thing, at one level, it represents the prices in Coles going down, but there must have been something in Quo's eyes when they saw it that it also represents them going down, as it were.
Yeah, the contribution to culture.
Down, down, deeper and down. I'd like to see it, though. It must be on everything. It's on YouTube.
Is this? Have you mentioned? You've mentioned pickled onions before, haven't you? Is this where you've been sent a pickled?
What is this?
Yes, sent a pickle strainer.
Don't grill me.
I wouldn't grill you over onions.
Okay.
I wouldn't grill your onions. But, are there any other items you would like viewers, readers to send you?
No, I don't normally. I never didn't beg for this. I just said I struggle more and more to get an onion out of a jar nowadays. I don't think
finds it hard.
Struggle no longer. Brilliant.
I think there's health and safety forks aren't as sharp as they used to be.
No. They don't trust you like they used to. That's what one of my great-grandmothers said when she shoplifted. She said they don't trust you in this shop like they used to.
No, I wonder why that is. But anyway, that's a lovely thing from Carol Ann. What else?
We've had an email, Frank, from Gavin in York. Back to email corner briefly. He says, "Hello, breakfast team. Frank's weekly item, The Thick of It, is fast becoming one of my favourite updates on breakfast radio."
Oh, this is about Robin Thicke.
Yeah,
Indeed.
Robin Thicke.
He says, "What better way to enjoy it than to contribute if possible? Last week, you revealed, or a few weeks ago, in fact, now, that you revealed that Robin's wife, Paula Patton, actually suggested..."
Paula Put-Upon, I call her. Hey?
Very nice.
I say Paula Put-Upon. Hear what I said? Yeah.
Yeah, we heard you.
That Paula Put-Upon actually suggested to him that a photo shoot with 5 naked women would be a good idea. Thicke naturally jumped at the opportunity in good faith that his wife was fine with the arrangement.
Yeah, right.
However, in an interview with Paula about her upcoming film with Denzel Washington, she revealed that she asked the director if she could do a scene fully nude, despite it not being in the script.
I love that.
Oh.
Couldn't get a bit of nudity into this.
With Denzel.
Yeah.
He says, is she punishing her husband for not originally saying no when scantily clad women were on offer? Whatever the situation, I give them 6 months.
Well,
He says this game is,
I think the argument that I've seen before, when famous women appear naked in things, or do naked photo shoots, is, well, you know, I'm in great shape at the moment, I want to capture this for when I'm older. The way when people, it's the reverse of when people take photos of their house before refurbishment, so they can remember what it was like when it was in ruins. I was going to say before restoration, but of course people didn't have cameras before the restoration.
No, it's true.
Okay, we will continue with this, because I can talk thick till the cows come home.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Frank James has texted to say, "Hi Frank, I'm listening to you in Australia and it gets better with status quo. They've changed the words in down down to down down, prices are down, with the red hands."
I want to see that now. It must be on the YouTube.
Have you seen the trailer for their film? Bulla Quo.
No.
They've Status Quo have done a film. It's a thriller, I think set in Fiji, in which they get into some crime cases.
Are you sure it wasn't a dream that you had?
It's a true thing. I promise you, this exists.
That's a dream.
It was. I think it's had a cinema release, and it was universally derided.
Did you see this as a night call should have been wiped and missing? Oh, Quo.
Frank, it's time to return briefly to Email Corner. We're going to hear from someone I'm going to call Mr. X.
Lovely.
And shortly you'll
and
find
you've got
out...
a few of those.
Yeah. I'm treating this one with rather more respect, though.
Okay.
Hiya, Frank M. Alan/Steve. Delete as appropriate. Thanks for the show. Oh, bit of washing up there, Steve. Sorry, Archer's sound effects. But it has subjected me to the most bizarre feeling of unease. I happily listen to your show going to and leaving work. It gives me a giggle on my way. Sorry, a bit praisey. So consider my horror to hear that someone whom I work with has emailed in to say they love the show too.
Oh, lovely.
Bearing in mind that I hate almost everyone I work with, what should I do? Tell me about it. To discreetly flush out this mystery person with impeccable taste such as myself. Lots of love, Mr. X. And Mr. X is, let's say he's emailing us from a casino in the L3 area.
Okay.
He says, keep me anonymous for pity's sake.
Okay.
Which is a great leap of trust he's made.
Yeah, what I suggest, Mr. X, is that you get a ringtone that goes, "Friend of the show," and then whoever is the other devotee there will pick up on it, and you can develop some sort of secret handshake.
Well, actually, I think we should possibly have some kind of secret show symbol that people can... Maybe they can just shout pig iron unexpectedly, or mortificado, or something like that.
What about they have to wear black and white check trousers just this week?
And a neckerchief. Someone's texting about that neckerchief. Why do they wear neckerchief?
They don't want sweat to get on the offal.
Oh, just have Botox in your neck then. That's what most people do.
They can arrange it so that every room they walk into, the Deer Hunter starts playing.
Yeah. I'm not going to play it. I won't be pushed.
No.
Not by Steve Hall and his manipulative ways. Okay, well, anything else as far as contact?
We've had an absolutely charming email from Sarah, who has said, long-time reader, first-time writer.
Sarah.
Prices are down.
And Sarah says, I have just been given a 2-hour drive time slot on my student radio station.
Oh,
congratulations.
Her first show is on Tuesday.
Do they drive, students?
Well, they hitch time show.
Bus time radio station. She says, to be honest, although I'm wildly excited about the situation, I'm also utterly terrified. I was wondering if you all still get nervous about the show, or whether this constant nausea I am feeling will eventually subside. And then she goes on to say some praise, which I won't read out, but I thought this is a charming PS. She says, thanks, Emily, for proving that women can be incredibly funny and also be sexy. You're an inspiration for girls like me who hope to achieve both.
Oh,
That's lovely.
I couldn't do it without the support of you guys.
Oh, lovely. Would you like anyone else you'd like to thank? No, I totally agree with that. And as for the nerves before the show, I sometimes think it might be a better show if I did get nerves before the show. I can only apologise to you that I don't. Sometimes I'm like today I have a feeling about midday I'll think, have I done the show?
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Still on these emails, Frank.
Yeah, good.
Okay. We've had an email in from Jim. Dear Frank, Emily and Alan... Oh, God, sorry, Steve. I can't keep apologising.
It's fine.
Thank you for your discussions about mayors. Do you remember that, Frank? We discussed mayors.
I discuss mayors more or less every day. It's become something of an obsession with me.
Yeah.
Can we say, by the way, the Cockerel is still filming is on location.
He is.
He's on L3.
Doing some proper acting.
Yeah.
How's it going, his sitcom?
Oh, don't worry, we won't hear from him again.
He's very
Do you
much
think that's it, Frank?
He's enjoying it.
Is that all there is? Do you think he's gone now?
Have you had contact?
I've had contact. Yes, he's having a lovely time. I think it's a shame because, as far as I'm aware, we're not allowed to sort of say too much about it. But it's a very exciting script writing team. It's a very funny thing. The people involved are wonderful. So
well, let's wait and see, shall we? I've heard that about lots of shows that haven't happened yet.
I've heard they said it could be a new Blue Heaven.
Really?
Yes.
Why can't we talk more about it?
What about when Shane 2 coming out?
Oh, Frank.
In case new readers might not know that I had a sitcom for ITV. The whole series was filmed, edited.
Oh,
It was
Frank.
all
I
ready
can't
to
bear
go.
it.
And it still hasn't gone. And that's how many years ago? About 8 years
Well,
ago.
all I'm saying is get on to Dick Fiddy.
Yeah.
He's the man to talk to.
D-Fiddy.
Fiddy sense.
Okay. Nevertheless,
Anyway, what does Jim say?
yes, he says, thank you for your discussions about mayors. It reminded me of when I was in infant school and our class teacher, Mrs. Howell, became mayor of, I apologise for mispronouncing this, Torfaen? Sounds Welsh, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I'd completely forgotten about it. Fringe benefits were that one afternoon we got to go to the town hall and eat triangle sandwiches with mini Welsh flags poked
I
in.
eat a lot of that kind of thing.
And don't worry, Frank,
They've always got... every mayor I've met has had a bit of something in his teeth. Every mayor.
yeah.
Is that part of the bling? It extends
I think it's salmon roulade.
I think they smell a bit of port as well. She wore complete bling-bling regalia, even though only the local radio were there to interview her. Oh, that's so heartbreaking. She's definitely my second favourite mayor after Stuart Drummond. Google him. Peace and love, Jim.
Well, Stuart Drummond. It's a pub quiz question. Stuart Drummond.
He's a football mascot.
Yes, that's exactly it. He's Hartlepool's. He was Hangus the monkey.
Oh yes,
so he was Hartlepool.
And then he stood as mayor as a joke and got in.
Well, and the only way they could get rid of him as mayor was they abolished the position of mayor. He kept on winning the elections.
Strict. Well, that thing about your teacher, the things you remember about your teacher, we had a teacher called Mr. Orchard, and I remember he at a sports day, his girlfriend came.
I hope he was a PE teacher.
No, he was geography teacher.
Oh, even better.
And I remember he walked along and he had his hands folded behind his back, but his index finger, that's what you call your first finger,
Yeah.
he had his hands folded, but he just had that finger sticking out, and his girlfriend held on to that as she walked around. Yeah, because we simulated it and drew it on for years afterwards. I'd never seen anyone hold hands just clutch my extended finger.
What about when I got... Oh, sorry, I was going to say, I got all my teachers to sign my autograph book because I thought they were like celebrities. So they were next to Kenneth Williams. Oh.
Yeah, I remember.
And Yehudi Menuhin.
I know someone who got all the dinner ladies' autographs when they left.
Brilliant.
And a lot of them weren't declaring their earnings. They were taking quite a risk. I just took a whisker sample from each one.
It's a shame for teachers that, you'd think, there's nothing much that they could mock me for. I'm a nice teacher, I'm a good bloke. Unaware that the rogue index finger has ruined him.
Yeah, that wasn't exactly true of Mr. Orchard. I think he was so cheeked by the kids that he gave up teaching altogether in the end. If you're listening, Mr. Orchard, sorry about that. But that's
It's not
the
like
price.
you've got a recognisable name or anything, so don't worry.
It's the price of being ridiculous. Anyway, Mark Crossley is next, and you know what? It's been lovely. Thanks for listening. And if the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again this time next week. Okay, now get out.
The Frank Skinner Show on Absolute Radio. Back Saturday morning from 8. Tune in live for the full Frank experience.